G'day everybody, and welcome to another round table. This week on the table we have Polly, Jules, Donnie, Connie, Maliah, hoping to be visited by NeSe later. And we'll get straight into it like we always do. And this week's on the table we have, do we lose our innocence? Does the quest for knowledge, wisdom, cover our innocence? Is innocence lost among society's demands upon us? Would a more intelligent species find us innocent? Do you think Creator sees us as innocent? What are the things that we see as innocent as human beings? And if lost, is it possible to find it again? And what makes us want to protect innocence? And why is it so frightening that some have to destroy it? So, is innocence just innocence? These questions and more. And so, what do you reckon, people? Let's start. There's a quest for knowledge and wisdom, cover our innocence. Let's just talk about it. Who wants to start? Where do you want to start? When I bring these questions up, they come out higgledy-piggledy, and, it's not question 1, 2, or 3, they're just questions.
Well, I like the idea of innocence being attached to a level of knowledge, which is probably why the word innocence rhymes with ignorance, because you can claim ignorance and come off as innocent because you didn't know.
I was thinking about that, actually, Polly.
So,
Ignorance.
I hate to keep saying this, but I'm probably going to say this more than once, but in a sense, innocence is just a recognition of ignorance.
Well, that's what I was thinking last night. I'm thinking, and there's, what's that other word? Being naive. Is it naive or ignorance or innocence? Like, there's a little wavy lines there that can cross over into any one of those things. And I suppose it depends on where you stand and what kind of person you are. Do you reckon?
Yeah, well, that's kind of exactly it. Like, you could say, oh, somebody is so innocent just based on the fact that they simply don't know something. So they're ignorant. So their innocence comes from a lack of knowledge, a lack of wisdom. And so that's probably why innocence is always tied to sort of a childlike picture, like innocence. The innocence of a child is really the innocence of a child is dictated by how much the child knows.
Well, I keep getting this tree flashed in front of me, and these words saying something about eating from the tree, because I'm looking at too much knowledge can actually be bad for you and decimate your innocence.
But I was actually busy writing, and it occurred to me that ignorance is bliss. So at one time we were innocent before we got propagandized.
Yeah, well, that was my next question. Is our innocence lost among society and the demands upon us? And that's
But
another way.
yeah, but to answer your question, can it be found if we can?
I think, yeah. All right, we'll get to that. So I just would like to ask Connie and Polly if you could kind of re-say what you said before, if you remember. That was the last week's show, memory. No. If you
I was
remember.
saying that ignorance is it's a level, or sorry, innocence is a display of a level of ignorance. It's like an acceptable level of ignorance where instead of saying, "Oh, you're stupid because you don't know," you're just innocent.
Do you think we could tell the difference?
Well, it's funny because we start out being innocent, then we learn all this stuff that makes us not innocent, and then we go back to being innocent again.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because a person who has more experience than another person can still have innocence because they can say, "Well, I've already been through all of that," and so my natural assumption, due to, I mean, it's not ignorance; it's the opposite of ignorance, but that makes them just as much innocent in a way because what they've learned is what they've learned through their experience, and who are you to argue with their experience? And so what they say may come across as crass or even inaccurate, but in a way it's still innocent, even though they have 8 million times more knowledge than when they were a child, and still just as innocent. So it's weird. It's like innocence is like on both extreme scales of knowing and not knowing.
Okay, Bet's put something interesting here. Which kind of knowledge breaks our innocence? Is it knowledge of good or evil? That's a good point there.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
we
know, Bet. I would say that it's just the knowledge in general that, like, it doesn't have to be even specific to good or evil. If you have the knowledge, you can't be innocent.
Well, everyone's going, I'm dumb right now.
No, this is a definite. I told you I wasn't ready, and that's because it's such an interesting topic.
Oh, we're a few funny creatures, aren't we? Oh, okay, so depends on the knowledge, which is true. I think so. Some knowledge of good things make you feel more innocent and more better. Some knowledge of bad things, it's very
And I
tricky.
think that innocence can guide the right questions. Like, if a question is asked out of innocence, it's more likely to find some sort of answer that's of value or of use. Whereas if a question is asked out of what would the opposite of innocence be? Guilty. If a question is asked out of guilt, you kind of already know the answer.
Yeah, I forgot about that area, innocent or guilty. Like that, unless it's an actual thing that one thing you're concentrating on, you can't say to us that person's innocent or guilty. I suppose that's why you're innocent until proven guilty.
Well, okay, now, okay, hang on a second though. Okay, if you're guilty, that means you know something that nobody else knows. So you're not innocent because you have that knowledge.
Oh,
So, like, is innocence just a lack of guilt? Because children, when they ask a question that is seemingly stupid to adults because it's so innocent and from a child, it's because they don't have the knowledge, but they're not guilty of anything.
yeah, through that.
So
Yeah.
when you're guilty, it doesn't mean it means you're not innocent in a way. But at the same time, you could be innocently guilty.
Hang on, Polly. I just got to get my other brain out so I can figure this out properly.
Well, stop picking these topics then.
I don't pick them. I told you I sit there all
She
week
does
waiting for it to come to me.
Creator picks them.
If I
It's
picked
an,
them,
it's
we'd be
an
doing
innocent thought.
Pardon?
It's an innocent thought. I was just thinking.
Yeah, and actually, when I get a topic, I'm quite innocent up to the point to get the topic, and it's like, okay, wow. Some
Well,
of these
apologies
topics,
for missing the last roundtable last week, by the
yeah.
way. My apologies to everybody. I really wanted to be there.
Oh, we missed you.
I
I'm sure you
missed
had.
you guys as well.
Next time, bring your friends with you.
Right? They could have used it. They could have used it, seriously.
I wonder what they'd think about today's subject.
I'll let you know.
I've never thought of innocence
That
as
doesn't surprise me, Connie.
okay.
Go, Connie. Tell us what you're thinking.
I just think it's interesting, first of all, that when you first announced it, when I first saw it, you spelled it in a sense, INNOSENTS, which would be a more than one innocent person. And then I thought, oh, she misspelled it. And then I thought, did she? Because it means the same thing. What have we done or not done to protect the innocence of children? We have no regard for them developmentally, what we expose them to. They mentally cannot even handle it or process it. So I think of innocence more as a protective, it's the kind of knowledge. I also am reading in chat, and there is fruit from the tree of life, which is true wisdom. They're words of life. They have power behind them for good. And it can also work in the dark side also. But I believe that we have, as a culture, any culture that is okay with just murdering billions of babies and using their parts for whatever. We got blood on our hands. I'm sorry,
And
you
you
don't
just made me
do
think of
that.
innocence in a totally different light there, too, Connie, because the way that you're using the word innocence, in a way, is like the innocents are the children. They are the innocent.
Yes, they
They're
are.
the plural of one person being innocent. The children are the innocents.
Yes, they are. And
Yeah.
we've violated them. And as a
Oh, totally.
society, we've said nothing about it. I can remember years ago, little girls having makeup on and dressing like adult women. I'm like, what is up with all these leggings and off the shoulder stuff for little girls? They're little girls. Let them
The
look like
pageant
a
queen
little
girls.
girl. And then we wonder why pedophiles they relate it and link it to being something sexual or dominant. I don't know. I'm done. I'll just start to go off. But that's how I see innocence, as something to be protected as long as it can be, till someone is ready to be exposed to certain things. And then
Yeah, it's
know,
like a verb and a noun.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've jumped straight to what makes us want to protect innocence, and why is it so frightening to others that they have to destroy it? So, because what I saw, these people that you're talking about, Connie, when they see innocence in a child, whatever's in that child scares them somewhere inside them, that they're compelled to destroy that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying completely. Innocence is one of the most dangerous things you can have in a system where control is imperative.
And it's in
Because
us.
innocence implies a freedom of thought, a freedom of pre-programming. So it's almost like innocence in a way is like a level of purity.
I agree.
Mm.
I
I would
agree with
too.
that. Because if our eyes are the windows of our souls, then I can look at the preview of something and now I don't want anything to do with that, and I just don't watch it.
Same.
I don't care who does or doesn't. I just know for me, nah. For whatever reason.
And there's also that image of me throwing my hands up in the air and shrugging my shoulders. And that is a very powerful image of innocence to me. Like, I don't know. You know, like, how could this possibly happen? Well, it wasn't my fault, kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
innocence.
The unknown is innocent. The unknown is innocent, so we need to relook at things like that about the unknown again.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the unknown. If you, it's only innocent until you know it, and then you can't claim innocence anymore because you knew better.
Yeah, I can. If I don't participate, I can study satanic ritual abuse and study how the enemy operates with individuals in groups, and I have for years, but I don't participate in that. But I can recognize it when the enemy is active in
So
someone
you're
else.
saying, are you saying that makes you innocent? That you don't participate in it? That's what makes you innocent? Because that's another use of the word innocent right
You
there.
said if you have the knowledge, and I said no, because I can study something in depth and still have no intention of participating in it.
So you still hold on to a level of innocence in that way.
Well, I guard my heart. Yeah.
So I think we're in violent agreement here. And I think what we're both trying to say here is that innocence is also a level of protection.
Yeah. Yeah, it can, because sometimes, if you go beyond that area, that part of you won't be the way it is anymore, so it won't be pure anymore or something like that. And so you don't go there. You just know.
Well, they've even hijacked the word itself. I mean, innocence can be applied to so many different theories and aspects of everyday life. I mean, a person stepping on a worm and not thinking twice about it could be considered innocent.
Yeah,
But yet another person would say that there's no way that's innocence because they still recognize like life itself. So it's a very subjective word. One of those words that I guess you could say was hijacked, if you want.
Well, once I cleaned out a bowl of water and I didn't know it had frog babies in it. The froth. You know how they lay their eggs and it's all frothy. I thought the water was bad and I didn't want the other animals to drink it, and I tipped it out. And I come inside, and later on that day I'm sitting there thinking about it, and then I realised what I did. Was that innocent or stupid? Just plain stupid.
I would say ask the pollywog.
Ask the pollywog, yeah. I think it's both. It's like I was innocent when I did it because I didn't realise what I was doing, but later on the wiser me is like, have a look at what you did there. Have a really good look. And then I realised...
there you go. That's the difference between murder and manslaughter. There's a level of innocence there. I didn't know he was there and I backed up and ran him over. So you don't get charged with murder, you get charged with manslaughter. So in a way, there's a level of innocence there. Yeah. Sorry, frogs. Well, seriously though, but that is that like how pliable the word innocence is?
This is what
I don't think it is.
Just so the courtroom knows, I paid my penance and I got a pond.
Exactly. Because I don't know. I feel like innocence and lack of responsibility might be being blurred together here.
Yeah. And a little bit of knowledge, because I should have learned more about frog eggs. It is tricky, Polly. The word innocence, like laid upon the life, fits in all different places, and it kind of means things different in the different areas.
And it does rhyme with ignorance. And what you just said, that if you had known, you wouldn't have done it.
No, we'll lift it there, yeah.
Yeah, so ignorance and innocence, there's probably a reason beyond what we know that they rhyme.
Perhaps. there's something to look into.
Yeah, it might be something to look into. I'm not saying or claim to know what the similarities are, but I have found in my research of words and phonetically the way words sound, usually if two words sound the same, they mean something similar too.
Cool. I'll take more note of that in the future. This tricky language that we speak. Okay, so what would a more intelligent species find us as? Ignorant, innocent, naive? Like they'd look at us and go, they're innocent little sheep, careful, we can control them, or don't interfere. Savage. Donnie goes savage. Innocently savage.
Hey, it's pronounced savage.
I'm sorry. I speak Australian, remember, not English.
Savage.
Gosh, sounds like something you'd
It's
wear or
Dior
eat.
Savage.
Yeah, that's it. We can be savages, but is it because we're innocent and ignorant that makes us savage? So yeah, what do you reckon? Would a more intelligent species, more advanced species, would they look at us and go, "Look at them humans; they're so innocent; they don't know what they're doing"?
I mean, would these so-called beings even? Well, I'm pretty sure they would have emotion, but for the most part, they would be on a mission either way. I can't see them having much feelings for us, but so I would think that it may be maybe half and half, slightly more. Because
would say that
there are a
would
lot of
say that-
innocents. There are a lot of innocent ones out there. Innocence in the sense that they're still children, and in innocence because they are completely ignorant.
I would say that there's proof in what you're saying right now, Jules, in the fact that they haven't done anything yet. If they are here and watching us. The proof is that they must think we're innocent, or they would have done something by now to stop us from doing any more damage.
Yeah, they've had ample time.
Right?
I mean, almost 80 years, if not more.
Right. So they must think we must be innocent. They must think that, or at least have some kind of parallel thought to the word innocence and the way we're using it here.
So I'm curious, what do you guys think the percentage might be?
Oh no, I'm looking at it, trying to decide are we innocent or not. I'm trying to look at it from their point of view on them humans. Watch out, they're innocent and they're dangerous.
Well, what if they were like us at one point in their history?
Well, yeah, I just thought that too. What about them? Were they innocent ones? Or, or were they born intelligent?
Is it even an advantage to be innocent?
Yeah, well, this is why we're talking about it, perhaps and perhaps not. I don't know. The millicent bystander, the innocent bystander, stood there and watched as the car went by and smashed into a pole. Lucky that the innocent bystander was innocent, because would have got hit by that car.
What about the pole? The pole was innocent too.
And it got smashed out. So,
Hey,
this
wait
is
a minute. Is the victim always innocent?
Is the victim? Yeah, well, you got a point. Yeah, look, all right. I don't have to answer all those questions by myself. Is the victim
Friggin'
innocent?
words, man.
There must be something in the victim to attract something to begin with. So, are they totally innocent? Because we know about the law of attraction, right? Compel and contract.
Yeah.
Attract. So when something happens, yeah, there must be some attraction there for the innocent bystander.
Is innocent the opposite of guilt, or is guilt a completely different ballgame?
I think it's
because everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
I said that before.
But nobody wants to be proven guilty.
But
Seems like, yeah. It's like
them and
a,
everything.
it's like a, I don't know, some kind of weird
Is
thing.
innocence just a positive version of guilty, like positive and negative word? Innocent, positive, guilty, negative. What's neutral?
Yeah.
Ignorance.
Well, that's what I mean. Ignorance is kind of like innocence because that's how you get the innocence. You just say you didn't know. I didn't know that dude was standing behind my dump truck when I ran him over. Sorry.
But they could have looked first. They didn't look first, so does that make them guilty?
I don't think so.
It's really, this word innocent, you really got to pick in the little pieces.
It's so many meanings it can have. It's all that. This is what I don't like about the English language specifically, is that there's words that you can just take and put them in so many different contexts, and they'll mean completely different things depending on what the context is.
So if we go down to the last question that I had, which was, is innocence just innocence? So if innocence was innocence and everything we just talked about then, Polly, your innocence weren't working. So maybe that's why we forgive people, because their innocence wasn't working properly, which made them innocent.
I see what you're doing. You're saying inner sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool. I never even went down that road yet before I got here. So
that'd be the
put me
first
on
one
the
you're
spot
onto.
now.
I thought that'd be the first one you're on.
Road.
Innocence
cool.
and innocence. Yeah, that was it. Is innocence just innocence? And we know in this day and age, a lot of people's innocence is impaired for whatever reason. And
well, when you say inner sense, it makes me think of something like instinct. And in a way, if you act in instinct in a court of law, you would be considered to be innocent because you're reacting in self-defense, I guess you could say, right? So
inner sense.
The inner sense is really cool. I just started, I'd never even considered putting an R in there.
Actually, Polly, I didn't throw it like that. The word man.
But I mean, there's the reason why words sound the same, in my opinion. I think it's the sound of the words that mean more than the actual meaning of the words. Because it's the frequency of the word.
Yeah. So yeah, but you know what I'm getting at, in a sense, because you know, the deer, the innocence of the deer was just standing on the road doing what it normally does, and then the car come along. The poor deer was innocent, you know.
In a sense, I have no idea.
I'll play that one, Polly. Good, well done. So actually, what I'm going to do while we're talking is look up what innocence means in the Black Law Dictionary. All right, so yeah, this word innocence. So who else? Do you think it's innocence or innocence? Or come on, someone else give me their opinion. No?
I really like the inner sense because, I don't know, something about that. I'm just going to have to think about that for a little while.
Oh, I didn't think I'd be able to do that to you. I stumped Polly. Wow, good on you, Polly. All right, so
well, if you hear me talking to myself after this, it's just me having a staff meeting.
I love that. So, we'll move on. Do you think Creator sees us as innocent? You know, they talk about Creator, our Father. We see our children, and we know as they grow, they're innocent to things as they learn and stuff like that in life. So
wait a minute, what happened to the definition from the dictionary?
Oh, I'm looking it up still. I'm trying to cover myself. Come on, no one else.
I thought you forgot. I don't know. It was an innocent question.
It's kind of hard for me to type and talk at the same time. I'm not that good. So where were we? Yeah, Black's Law Dictionary. Someone knows the
So
answer.
you shouldn't have to multitask.
Multitask. It'd be all right if I could spell. All right, here we go. Let's see what we can find. Oh no! I opened up a can of worms.
Hello?
Yep, I have. There's a whole heap of stuff. This is unbelievable. I should have checked it first.
It's all good. Just pick something.
Hello?
Take me forever.
I mean, it's a very, definitely a good, interesting topic.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure upstairs has set me up, you know. Each week they give me a word and it's like, you trying to tell me something?
Or collectively tell us something.
Yeah.
Because all your words are playing into one another.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where it's going. I'm innocent. All right, I'm going to give... that's too much looking for me. Someone else can look for it. I need a secretary.
What am I looking for? I'll do it.
Black's Law Dictionary and what the definition of innocence means, because as we know, the law, as in LAW law, has two meanings on their words. And what we see, the meaning of one word in the LAW law, it can mean something different. So it's always good to check, because we live in two worlds. All right. So innocent, guilty, always innocent. You know, this, back to the innocent, guilty thing, the world's changing. They're making us guilty before we're innocent. Has anyone noticed that?
There's a new fragrance by Chanel called Innocence.
Ooh. That could be dangerous. What do you wear it and go, sorry, I'm wearing Innocence, not today.
I didn't know.
I lost my innocence. It's in your bag, love.
I found Black's Law Dictionary. I found it. I'm going to put in innocence.
You need to put those things away.
If I can remember how to spell it.
You need to get out of the bedroom.
Yeah, I had to check my spelling this time round.
And then I keep getting these freaking banner things.
No.
I keep thinking
Oh, thank goodness.
that the word innocence sounds like the word dissonance.
Dissonant.
Yeah, and those are two completely different things, so I'm going to have to keep thinking on that one.
And for those out there that think we're just a couple of not very bright people talking about this word, sorry, we're innocent.
Pardon?
While Jules is looking for that,
Pardon?
do you want to say something, Bet?
I just wanted to say I put a link in the chat for the definition of the word innocence. Just the one, ENCE. It's up a little bit. If you're interested, it's the Oxford Cambridge. That's all.
There's a lot. I found some information about innocence. It's a big legal site, but they're related legal terms pertaining to innocence. Innocent conveyance, innocent trespasser, found innocent, innocent party, faith, Six Sigma, probatus, extremis, title clear, fides, and right the first time.
Okay. I like the innocent party bit, though. Has anyone ever had a proper adult party and it's all been innocent?
Changes and cycles and stuff. It just...
Obviously not. Okay.
Nope.
I mean, come on.
That mean you've been having a good time? I'm innocent and having a good time. Oh, dear. I think we're going to look at this tomorrow and go, what did I say? All right. So where are we? So We never got past what do you think creator thinks we're innocent. No one wanted to deal with that. We'll bypass that one.
Overall, I would like to think, but individually, on an individual basis, comparing myself up to the next person, I mean, we're all as unique as snowflakes.
Bet said no, but it's funny, Bet, when I looked at your words, they actually yelled out me, I said no! All right, so that's something for everyone to think about, how Creator sees us. Creator loves us dearly, I'm telling you, so have a good think about that one.
Well, everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, but Creator sees everything we do, so there's no fooling there, you know.
Well, the only thing that would prove anybody guilty is having knowledge of. Otherwise, you are innocent. If you're innocent, you didn't know. If you're guilty, you knew and did it anyway.
Yeah, true. Gee, that can be
So,
another
I don't know. There's something about innocence that's not just about, like, being ignorant. It's about, like, I guess age almost, in a way. Like, real innocence, to me, would have to be restricted to a certain age. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be innocent, because it would have gone through all those things that something that is truly innocent can't go through in order for it to be innocent.
But then, Polly, I can say, I look at old people, like in the nursing home and that, and they have no idea about how the world's really run, and they're innocent.
Yeah, that's a similar kind of innocence. That's why I was saying earlier, when we go from this, like, early stage of innocence, and then through life being guilty, and then back to a stage of innocence, in a way, like almost a childlike innocence, in a way, because society and technology goes too fast for us and we get left behind.
This is true.
So in a way, that innocence that you experience when you get left behind is due to the fact that you don't know. You have a lack of knowledge. You're ignorant. But as a child, there's a different level of innocence that's mixed with, I guess, curiosity. Like, there's innocent curiosity, and then there's, I guess, guilty curiosity, you could say. Like, innocent curiosity would be like, what would happen if this happened? But a guilty curiosity would be like, well, now that I know that this happens, what would happen if I did this instead?
This will blow it up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's an innocent curiosity, and then there's a informed curiosity.
Yeah. And this is where the not so the wiser people can take advantage of the innocent people, and it's up to the wiser people to be innocent in their thoughts and not do that to the innocent people. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure innocence can be used as a tool, like a teaching tool. I think innocence would be more along the lines of, like, a measure of somebody's soul before they start to learn anything.
Well, that's what happens when you learn to do things, or see things, or walk about. As you age through life, you see more. You're exposed to more. You lose your innocence in that sense.
Because sometimes I feel like a real deal, because there's really simple things in life that I didn't know about when I find out, okay, oh, wow, and I feel innocent at that moment. That, oh, wow, I never knew that. Like, it happened to me the other day. I can't even remember what it was. It was just a common thing and I never knew. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And I felt really innocent at that moment because I didn't know.
Well, in a way, that's almost innocence being used as a security blanket.
Wow.
But it's not a conscious security blanket. It's just a blanket that's there so that something doesn't, I guess, blindside you, I guess you maybe could say, for lack of a better description.
Like NeSe's mute button. You could blind. I'm sorry, Polly.
Uh,
I
I
had
just
to get that
no, that
because I
was
noticed
good.
he's
I
just
just thought
muted. I was like, "Is this a security
it
blanket?"
came out of nowhere.
I know.
We don't
Came
hear
out of
from them.
That's what
nowhere.
I do. I come out of nowhere.
That wasn't innocent.
That wasn't
That was it.
innocent. That was picking on NeSe.
Well, my head
It's
has
funny.
been, yeah, that's he's not innocent, so it doesn't count because he's not innocent. So we can pick on him, right? Because right.
We could ask him, what do you think about that, NeSe?
No, but
He
in my
refuses
mind,
to answer.
I keep wondering about the etymological part of the word innocence, and you know, English is just such a language, right? Because in a sense, we can use that word to imply that, okay, in a sense, I can do this thing, right? Uh, but the end part of the word, the ending part, SENSE or CENTS, that's what I'm wondering. It seems to be really the root of the word, even though it's a suffix, which is pretty rare. So I wonder if the sense is really like a sensei or a state of neutrality, a state of being neither positive nor negative, but in a sense, um, having without knowledge, like you were saying earlier, Polly, just you're having no sense this way or that way. I'm standing in the middle. So does that? Do you guys think does that have a definition in innocence? It seems so broad.
You made me think about another thing that I didn't consider with the word innocence, and that is the way that you're pronouncing it, where you're saying innocence, like essence is what
Yeah.
came to mind. And when you think about the innocence of a child, they still have their essence. They're it's not been filtered or anything. It's just pure essence.
That brings up
They
another good
are
point.
in their essence.
That brings up a really another good point because I wonder what you mentioned earlier, what Luna was saying, with the others looking or others that could be looking into this world, would they view us as being innocent? Well, maybe that is what happened 60, 70 years ago. And they, as humans, looked at them and all of their fancy toys and thingamabobbers and all of this cool stuff. And we went, wow. And we were really innocent about it. And they said, okay, well, in return, we want you to sign this treaty and we'll let you play with all of our cool toys and stuff and learn how to use them. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing some DNA harvesting on the innocent.
Well, they took advantage of their innocence of not knowing the technology and all that as well.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good point,
They took
Maliah.
advantage of it too, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
They must. I wonder if they see some kind of innocence in us because that treaty, the Grenada Treaty, they had a cap off, and they reached that cap off about 2 decades ago, and they stopped reporting. So, I mean, I've lost my train of thought tying this back to innocence. Ah, can I phone a friend?
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh. Get the flux capacitor out and we'll get it 20 years ago. No, wait, 40 years ago. We're going back to the 80s now. Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying,
Oh,
Jules,
see,
though.
I mean, in this, if I speak, we're going to get off topic. but I'm trying to find my way back to innocence.
We forgive you, Jules. You're innocent.
UFOs.
Take the rabbit trail. That's what we do around here. Rabbit trails. So no biggie.
Well, if you
So we
want to
forgive
follow me down
innocent.
this rabbit trail after Roundtable, we'll do it.
Okay.
We can forgive innocence at the drop of a hat, but we can't forgive guilty or stuff like. It's harder to forgive that, but we forgive innocence at the drop of the hat. There's something inside of us to do with innocence. I'm telling you, we've got an automatic thing that wants to protect it. We forgive it immediately. Go, Polly. You
Just
wanna
like
say
we
something?
Well,
do with pets. Innocent.
yeah. But I wonder something too in the let's break apart the word. Okay, because when we were talking about this morning, I typed in the chat and I put a space in front of the O and a space after the O. So it kind of separates out the very center of the word is that O, right? And O basically signifies the eye, to see something, to have, to consider something in weights and balances, like operation, or to be heavily skilled in something because you have seen it again and again. That's basically what the O stands for or symbolizes. So before the O, we have in, INN, and then after the O, we have C, let's look at CENTS, cents, like money, right? So maybe in the etymology of this word when they were building it was they said, okay, well, let's put in a balance. The O can be like the scales, the line in between, and then two scales on either side, right? To weigh. So in is something you're either like making money with an inn where people stay and sleep, which is an age old, right, profession, or you're spending the money, cents, right? So it's kind of like it's taking a balance of you're either the proprietor of the business or you're the innocent one, the one unaware of the inside workings of proprietorship, possibly.
What? Yeah, I can see that. I can
Yeah.
see that. I don't know. Given the way the world runs, and that we're on maritime law, LAW, that would make so much sense. Sense, get it? Huh? Yeah.
Makes
No,
so
I know
much
what
sense.
you're saying, Maliah.
Yeah, it's that word. That word sense is so, because of English, we could be saying CENTS or we could be saying
Yes.
SENSE. And there's a big difference between those words, right?
There is. Maybe that's our next
I
conversation.
know I've trailed years on those two words. Oh my goodness. Right.
Okay, so anyone else want to comment before we move on to another question?
When is a question considered innocent?
When you say, what, Mommy, Daddy, why does it do that?
Well,
Where does the milk come from?
yeah, when you fully don't know the answer to it, when you truly don't know the answer to it, I would say that's when a question is truly innocent. When you really don't know the
Here's one.
answer, you're not leading with a
Not
question.
age specific.
No, we are innocent because we don't know if the world's a marble or it's flattened out. We
There
don't
you
know.
go. You just said it. You're innocent because you didn't know.
Yeah, all of us are. The only ones that aren't are the ones that have been up there to have a look.
So far, there's been a commonality between all these concepts, and that is that innocence seems to tie directly to the amount of knowledge one person has. So then I could kind of say, in mostly jest, that stupidity is innocent.
But then again, let's consider, okay, a 5-year-old who knows they should not dump out the bottle of shampoo. They know that. They know that mom's going to get mad that if you dump out her brand new bottle of shampoo, right? But they do it anyways. Are they still innocent because they're young? simply because they're
Sure
young,
do.
because they
Nope.
that's what I want to
Guilty.
do.
Guilty.
Are they guilty?
Guilty.
And what do you do about that? If they are guilty,
Guilty
do you still
AF.
consider their innocence for being a child?
Well, here's what I did. My 5-year-old sister, I told her, don't touch that. It's really hot. And you know what she did? She touched it and burned herself, and then she never touched anything hot again. Was that innocent?
Well, that's a smart 5-year-old, because I know a lot of other ones that would be like, no, it's not. Even after you told them it's hot.
No, because she
Times.
did exactly what I told her not to do. But it's innocent, but yet, I mean, it's not as, it's the same amount of innocence, but different amount of outcome.
But then, Polly, I could say on to you, what about you? You should have taught her better. You should have
I
held her
did.
hand close.
I said, don't touch that. It's hot. It will
Yeah,
burn you.
but did you put a hand near it so she felt the difference as it got warmer?
No, I'm not going to burn myself in front of her or anything like that. I just
No, I
thought,
didn't
like,
mean
maybe
that. I mean,
innocently that would be enough information to stop her from burning herself.
well, I'm seeing you as innocent in even giving that knowledge, because what I did with my children, I'll give you an example, with the oven, and having so many children, the oven was on all the time nearly, right? So they would waddle out into the kitchen, and when they were young, the first thing I'd do is sit them on my lap, sit in front of the oven, show them there's food in there, and then hold my hand where the heat radius comes out, and then show them, feel the air, it's warm. And then I'd say, hot, hot, ooh, ow, hot. And they'd feel the warm air and go, ooh, hot, hot. That's how I taught them. So I feel that you were innocent in your teaching approach.
Yeah, well, I was a child as well. But you know what? I think that approach as well could be considered maybe not so innocent, because now that you've taught your kids that it's really, really dangerous to go near an oven where the food is, you can get to the food before the kids. And that way you can have the corner piece or something before the kids get at it. And you know what I mean?
Makes you think I wouldn't take the best bit anyway. I cooked it.
Exactly. Is that innocent? I don't know.
No, the truth is that some of the food I cook, I don't eat because my foods are different. But yeah, anyway, I just saw that as innocent, just from my experience and my knowledge, that you were innocent because you didn't have the whole knowledge like that. See how layer upon layer. So as I step up, I see below me that person's innocent, and then they step up and they see the person underneath them innocent. So right at the bottom line, the little poor innocent thing, what are they, a nut? Like, just a little nut in a shell doing nothing, because that's how simple. Is a worm innocent? The most innocent thing in the world? Because it doesn't know anything?
I don't know.
Oh, do I have to ask a worm, eh? Me, hey, Polly, that's your job. You're into plants and gardens. Ask the worm. No.
I can't find a worm that's not talking to itself. I don't want to interrupt.
Who?
The worm.
Okay. So anyway, next question, where are we? What are the things that we see as innocent? The first one that comes to my head is children. What do we see?
Yeah, the second thing that comes to my mind is like a burp.
Yeah, bodily functions are innocent. We all do them.
Yeah.
They're the funniest thing I know of. So what else do we...
I don't know. The third thing that comes to mind is like a tie between like 3 other things.
Well, we see, obviously, everything we spoke about, we see a lot of things as innocent. A person's position, person's heart, person's mindset, an animal. There's another question. What do we find? Animals innocent? Nature, are they innocent?
No. No, they're not. Animals are not innocent. Once they know something, they utilize it and they teach it to their young, and then that's how they get to kill other animals for their other young.
But they don't pollute the earth or anything.
No, they don't. I mean,
So
they're not harmful, but it's definitely not innocent. And there's nature has laws that aren't innocent. There's all kinds of deception going on in nature. I would say deception is definitely opposed to anything innocent.
Well, I
Well,
think it's a
I-
different definition to the question because, in one sense, Luna, you're asking, is innocent like, are they not guilty? Are they not held guilty by Creator for harming the earth? And in the other sense, Polly, you're using the innocence as in, can they be taught something and learn from it and utilize that? And because of the knowledge, they can no longer be considered innocent. So I think it's just two different
Because it's
definitions of the word.
premeditated.
Yeah, because no, I don't believe that animals are held guilty before Creator for harming the earth or harming creation in some sense or causing a negative balance to the things. But in the sense that you're talking, Polly, yeah, they learn and they are able to do such a thing. So yeah, just jumping in there.
Do you think
Even plants exploit things, and anything that has to do with exploitation or anything negative to me sort of takes whatever we're talking about, sort of leans it away from the word innocence.
Well,
There's something about the word innocence that is, I don't know, it's on the bright side of all the words. It's on the positive spectrum. There's something about it, like, yeah, there. Okay, a spider gets something caught in its web and it wraps it up and drinks its insides for its food. That's innocent, but it's not innocent because it set a trap. Like, like it willingly set a trap, and that's how it lives. So it has that knowledge. So that's not innocent. That's not, to me, that's not innocent. That's learned. It has nothing to do with guilt either, I'm going to say, but there's something about the word innocence. It separates it from I don't know how to explain it. It separates it from just normal instinct. There's
so kind of
something about
basically,
innocence. It's like I don't know. How innocence ties to, like, when you think about children, that's how it separates itself from nature, in my opinion.
so basically like behaving in a parasitic way, right? Is what you're saying, or behaving in a way that is parasitic or parasite type
No,
sucking
that's
or taking.
not exactly what I'm saying. But you could take a parasitic relationship in nature and call it innocent if you wanted to. But I would
I know
disagree with that.
Jules has got a good question. Go, Jules.
Oh, and this time I was smart. I wrote my thoughts before I raised my hand. I was just wondering, did humanity as a whole lose its innocence when we were given fire?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's what I was trying to say before. Like, does nature look at us and think they're not innocent? We are. We made fire. We cook them up. We eat them. They eat us.
Well, there's a
But
lot of people that think the reason why we evolved more than apes was because of fire and meat. That's why our brains got so big. That's the theory, at least. I'm not
what?
saying I agree or disagree with that theory. I'm just saying it's a
Animals are
theory and
silly.
it's out there.
They can't cook their meat.
I'm just innocently throwing that theory out there.
I thought it was a rock that first considered or made man no longer innocent because according to create many different creation stories, it's a rock that killed the first thing.
It could be.
Oh, no, Maliah heard a story from Native
Maybe it was the
Americans
meatball.
that said the animals laid down and said a time will come where you have to eat us to stay alive and use our fur to clothe yourself. And the man said, I cannot kill you. You're my family. So the deer laid down and died for us.
Oh dear.
Yes, the deer, and for that reason, that every time we do need to take a deer for meat, we thank Creator for the life and the spirit for giving us their spirit, so that we can continue on. And we try to use every part of the deer, every part. utilize
So now
all
it's
purpose.
necessity pushing innocence in a different direction.
I believe so, definitely, because like Connie was saying to begin with, that was wow, the way to start it out, because it was, I feel like, in a very well, the way I was moved in the spirit immediately when I heard the question, do we lose our innocence, was basically, is there an eternal aspect to the souls or spirits of the little ones, of the small children that are killed, or the ones that where their innocence is taken from them by some kind of forced act. I think, I, which is why I was like, Luna, the answer is never, in my mind, never. Never
Yeah.
is a child lost. Never is the spirit forgotten or just that is taken truly away. And I think that's what makes the dark side so angry and continuously trying something that really devours itself in doing so. Because it simply cannot do that thing. It's impossible.
Yeah, I don't think we lose. I think somewhere in our spirit, our essence, innocence is the flame.
Yeah.
But I think innocence means more than what we think. I think we're innocent to the true meaning of innocence.
I agree too,
'Cause
because we're blind. We are blind to what is
Yeah.
really going on all around us, the influences and the different things that are happening to lead us up to the moment. We really don't know what's going on. We're really blind, leading the blind, seriously, because it is come to a point where, yeah, we just don't know what's really all going on around us. Can we be held guilty or this when
yeah,
we
do you
can't
think
see
Creator sees us
everything?
as innocent? I think Creator does see us as innocent from that big perspective.
Yeah. And so I think that the heavy hammer that, well, for lack of a better word, religious organizations do tend to put over their parishioners is something that we don't need to hold over our own heads with the level of judgment against our natural human behaviors that they would call sins. Like stuff they less than 75 years ago were burning women at the stake and calling her a witch because she used a broomstick in her front yard. I mean, it's just like, it's pretty darn ridiculous how men judge each other, how women judge each other, all of these things, when Creator doesn't look at us that way. We're considered quite innocent in those sense. He made us. He created us as the beings that we are. We should fully, I believe, evolve and enjoy that thing, which He made
Well,
us
if we've
into be.
been, yeah, I think if we've been tweaked up throughout the centuries by others, I'd say that classes us as innocent, because we're like the animal they use in the laboratory,
Yeah.
that poor little innocent animal.
Yeah, right.
And if it gets all gnarly and nasty, we can understand why and we'll forgive it. If it survives. That's how it feels at the moment. All right, so I've got another question. What do we gain by being innocent? What's the prize there? Like, we hold it in such reverence. What's the prize in being innocent? What's the gain? This is where I think it's unhidden. I mean, it's hidden, because there's, like I said, there's more to innocence than being innocent. There's something in there. And I think it has to do with our flame, eternal flame, our spirit, our soul, what Creator gave us. There's something in there that ties it.
That's a good question, Luna, because where is the virtue in innocence? If innocence implies a lack of knowledge, and therefore it can be never harmful because it's innocent in its lack of knowledge, then that's a very good question. I'm struggling to find a virtue in innocence. Why would I want to have it? Why would I want to look for it in anything else? Like, it's a good question.
It is. It's a great question. I think
It
for
really,
me, the reward is daily in searching for the return of innocence. Because, I mean, I can say that probably for every single one of us living in this generation, our eyes have seen things we shouldn't have seen, or been through things we probably should not have been through. But
Mm.
I wonder, can we return? And because of that happening to me as well, I pursue the return of innocence, I call it. And I have found in this that it is a daily reward. It's being able to recognize things as tiny as a bumblebee, a little ant doing his job. All of these things return to new life and light and enjoyment as a child enjoys those things for the first time. That's how I feel like returning of innocence is to begin to recognize, how a child sees and views the world, and it is a daily reward of
Yeah,
peace.
I feel that through understanding and all those other words, love, unconditional love, and all those things we've been talking about, truth and all that, I think we can find the true platform of innocence. It's not as fragile as what we think it is. There's more. My instincts are telling me there's such a whole nother can of worms here underneath the innocence, because there's light in there. When I sussed it out, there's light. When you think of innocence, there's that good stuff. And I think something in of us strives for that innocence to keep the light on, if you know what I mean, to keep that connection to source. Whatever face innocent wears, we know it's very important. Sorry to stump you on that question, everybody.
It's almost as if innocence in a way has more or like an exponential amount of knowledge, but it disguises itself in not knowing anything.
Yes, because you can
So
still learn and grow
because
and be.
innocence, it's like it doesn't need to know because it already kind of knows.
Already does, yeah. And that's
Exactly,
why I hooked
Polly. Exactly. That's exactly it. It's the perfect knowing that everything that I don't need to know. That's it. It's so much calm there. There's so much peace in it. Yeah. You got me excited there. Sorry. Go ahead, Luna.
Yeah, I agree. Because there are things that we look at and we go, no, we're not going to even, like Connie said it earlier, there's just things you know not to look at. Even when you're going on the screen, you look at something and go, I'm not even going to go in there. I don't need to know that. And you don't go there. That's something in you saying, you don't need to go there. You already know about that. So you kind of keep your innocence. Makes you want to retract a lot of things in life, doesn't it? I've often thought that, walking a spiritual path at one point, how much do I lose my innocence? But truly, I think you don't if you do it the right way.
It would be more like, do you trust your innocence?
Well, that's another view. Yes. Do you trust innocence? Maybe I should have said that. Well, you do, kind of. Something says in you too.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
Yeah, there was
What a weird question.
Well, I would
silence.
say naturally yes, because the opposite being guilty. So logically,
Do you
yes.
trust your guilt?
Well, yeah. If you can't trust that you are feeling guilty over something, whether or not it's warranted is another question. I think completely another question if that guilt is warranted or deserving.
Join us next week when we discuss what is guilt.
Because a lot of people, yeah, I think it's a great topic. I think we could really dig into some opening up. Well, like in surgery when you've got gangrene or an infectious wound or something. Same thing in the spirit. Guilt Oh man. Guilt can place so much wrong into a person that just devours their spirit, and they forget who their personality even is as they become
Is guilt a
consumed
trick?
with it.
Is guilt a trick to corrode innocence? It tricks you into thinking you're not innocent now because you're guilty.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it really. Yeah, I think that's a great topic. Great lean in for next week. Maybe, I don't know. It's up to you, Lena. Your roundtable, but I'm throwing in cash in
Yeah,
the
no, it sounds
podcast
good to me.
slot.
It's like some shows do flow into each other because they're like we've got more to talk about.
I think
And
we just kicked a big snowball off the top of the mountain.
On top of old Smoky. No, I can't do it. That song is so sad.
oh, you're gonna. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, you can hear that. So here we are, innocent. We're all innocent. At one point in our life, and I think the die innocent. Do we die? Yeah, when we die, we get to the end of the life. And we go, was that an innocent life we had? Do we die innocent? I think we do to some degree because there's a lot we don't know. We have to come back and learn it again.
From personal experience, from what I've seen, I mean, I'm inclined to think that you do find some kind of innocence upon death. I mean, I've literally seen people like lose their mind and have that childlike innocence.
Yeah, Jules, I think for me, yeah, it's been a lot of times I've seen that look of peace, of childlike look come across the person's face right before they pass. It happens often, but not every time either. So, or not in every case, not every person. And I think what I see in the spirit is that some people find their way to the place where they're supposed to go, where that fullness of innocence is, and other spirits are stuck, traumatized, fixing things, etc., and they don't encounter it. So yeah, good point. The point of the end of a life. Yeah. Do they return to innocence at all times? No, I don't think everyone does. But
You're breaking up a little bit there, Maliah.
sorry, I'm muttering. Go ahead.
It's all good. Well,
Sisters, keep your internet on.
thanks for that short intermission, NeSe. We're waiting to hear from you, NeSe. Come on. Hiding there in the background, all innocent like. I can unmute him on purpose, but I won't do that.
Oh my goodness.
Well. I've got it NeSe singing.
I kind of want to say something, but I don't want all of you to take my innocence from not being part of the conversation. Because, from my perspective, the observation would depend upon the level of innocence. Because if I haven't been part of it, then would I not be innocent? This person has never ever drank alcohol. They're innocent of that. This person has never had intimacy. They're innocent of that. This individual hasn't participated in this or hasn't participated in that, then they would be, in a sense, innocent of the perception and perspective of the observation. And so when we talk about innocent of a child, the child has not had the experiences to be guilty of fill in the blank. And it's interesting that I hear ignorant being utilized with innocence, because I have made the proclamation about ignorance is when you don't know the wrong and you're doing it, and then when you're notified of the knowledge, then you stop doing the wrong. Whereas stupidity is when we know the wrong and yet we continue to do the wrong. And so the question I have is there the possibility of returning to innocence when we are all guilty from one perspective of something? And more times than not, we would rather others not know of our guilt, especially when it comes to something of severity. And so I'm sorry, pity and forgive me for not doing enough for universe, because I'm guilty and I'd like to return to innocence.
I don't think innocence can be achieved. It can only be taken away. You can't grow it. It's something that's there only to be taken away because it is intrinsically tied to the amount of knowledge that you have, which is why ignorance keeps coming into play. The more ignorance you have, the more innocence you have. The more knowledge you have, the less ignorance you have. And that's just how it is. At least that's my perspective of it. Innocence is not something that should be held up as like a virtue. It's more like an excuse.
I understand that, and I try to, break apart the etymology of the word, and I was trying to look at what the suffix of ENCE was, or ANCE was, because we have ignorance, which is ignore ants, and we have innocence, so
Know implies not knowing.
Exactly.
No, yeah, exactly.
And so it's that, I don't I don't know how to stop somebody from bleeding. So am I innocent of this person bleeding out?
Of
I
course
don't
you
know
are.
CPR.
Unless you
So
were the
am I-
person who shot him.
Well, then it's the whole thing of knowing the full parameters of the speculation where the challenge is. So
What I'm trying to say is that you can't gain back innocence that you've lost. It's a one-way street.
All right. Donnie's put a good question up. Are we innocent from our past lives, right? So say we shot someone in our past life, then we're reborn. Are we still innocent now because we forgot about it?
Oh, is that not the slippery slope where
I don't
we
know.
can utilize, I forgot, because then it's back to the I don't know.
So when you remember, once you remember what you've done, I know that's the beauty of a question, Donnie, because I'm just thinking, I know in one of my past lives I was like an assassin, right? And I bumped people off. And when I realised what I'd done, I saw the full vision of it, and I still have some of the skills. When I realised what I'd done, it's honestly made me step back and reassess myself and how to be more responsible when I walk, because of what I know now that I was capable of doing that. It spun me out.
I would say that it's probably less than a very significant amount of the population that actually remember their past lives. So, in a sense, they would be innocent because they're not properly remembering what they did in their past life.
Mm. But what happens if your spirit still remembers and your conscious mind don't? And is that why we bump into, we have like
I would
things
say
happen?
you're still innocent at that point.
Interesting.
It's like innocence has a connection with consciousness too. There has to be conscious.
Has to be conscious.
I think so. It's one of the parameters. It has to be something bright and it has to be something conscious. And it can't be given back. It can only be taken away. Those are the 3 parameters that I've learned talking about innocence tonight.
Sorry, I'm stuck in a moment from the past. I'm looking at my past like going, what am I doing that I shouldn't be? Oh dear. Actually, it's answered a question for past life question. Okay.
And is there a purpose or reason why we are innocent of knowing our past lives?
Probably because the guilt might crush us.
Well, that's interesting the way you phrased that question, because you just used the word innocent as a polite way of saying ignorant. Like we're just ignorant, i.e. innocent, of knowing what our past lives were. These 2 words, they keep getting closer and closer together to me. This whole conversation, those 2 words, they're almost the same word to me.
They definitely walk hand in hand. The 2 of them. And through my researching about Christianity, I cannot recall I'm innocent of my ignorance of if it was either the 6th Pope or of the 600s of when they took the teaching of past lives or reincarnation out of the Bible. And I found throughout a lot of ancient peoples and ancient religions and stuff, they talked about past lives, reincarnation.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing. They say, did they deliberately take it out? So there's something we don't learn, and in our innocence, we keep making the same mistake.
Well, that's when there's the proclamation that we're born into sin, and is that part of it? Our sin,
innocence,
right? Is that sin of not knowing of our past, and so we continue to be guilty. Mm-hmm. And there goes another question. Can we be innocent of our ignorance when we have the ability to collect data, to collect information, to collect knowledge? And then it makes me ponder, what about the individual?
Have the ability to pass that knowledge down too.
And what about the individuals that have some type of mechanism in their brain that is not allowing them to retain knowledge? Like, for lack of a better term, a simpleton, or someone that has a learning disorder, or even like a physical challenge with their brain. So they're, so they grow into be a man, and they're innocent like a child because they don't have that ability to be like, hey, don't touch that fire. and they just keep burning themselves. Do we keep burning ourselves?
When I was a little kid, I asked Creator about the people in the world, and the answer I got from a kid, it got more intricate as I got older, but at that time, as a little kid, this was the very simple answer. There's the dark ones, the light ones, and the innocents, the ones in between. And as I grew, walking my path, I realised that I thought, all those people that don't understand the spiritual stuff or anything about magic or anything like that, they're all innocents. And is it truly, if they knew, they wouldn't be innocent anymore, they'd have to pick a side? Is that what happened to us when we ate from the tree? We had to pick a side because we lost our innocence. Sorry, did I throw that sideways? That was just
No.
Well, I'm going to pick inside instead of outside.
I don't know. I'm never going to use that word in the same way again.
Oh, look, I wish Sharon was here because she'd be saying how much we're learning, and we think we know.
I definitely am learning.
Mm. Are we losing our innocence by talking about this?
Well, in a sense, losing your innocence is nothing to be ashamed of. It's not necessarily a derogatory thing. It's not. It's if you lose innocence, you're gaining knowledge. So I don't think losing your innocence is necessarily a bad thing. Maybe giving up your innocence may be a better way to put it, but or losing it and then not finding it would be kind of crappy, I guess. But I don't know if having innocence is good. If it's like, is it worth holding on to?
Well, that was my question before about what do we gain from being innocent?
That's what I can't
excuse?
think of anything, though. That's what I mean. Like, that's what's scary is I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think of that's beneficial about innocence is from an artist's perspective, looking at the innocence of how a child looks on the world is somehow inspiring. So there's that. But other than that, there's no benefit to innocence, in my opinion, at all. I can't see one, anyways.
No, it's definitely a good excuse.
That's what I said before. I even said, I used the exact word before, that it seems like more of an excuse.
Yeah, in a lot of ways you could see that.
But then do we find ourselves guilty?
Well, that's the thing. You only are found guilty if you have the knowledge. If they find out that you had the knowledge, then you're guilty. Otherwise, you're innocent.
Yeah.
So then, is there an innocence of ignorance and of stupidity?
Well, you would have to assume so.
Yeah.
Stupid monkey.
Well, I'm just like, when are we allowed to just say that it's stupid instead of innocent?
Yeah, we got to make those lines definite, don't we?
You know what I mean? Like, because there's blurry lines there.
There is blurry lines there. But
Well, never label the entity, only label the behavior. Unless you're referring to yourself. Because I say it all the time that I'm the stupidest man I know, but given the definition of stupidity, is when earlier I went to go get me a package of crackers, and my daughter moved her little chocolate bars and her little lemon wafers, and put them right on top of where my stack of crackers are. And when I went to go move them, that box of lemon wafers just opened up, and those 3 wafers jumped right into my mouth, and I couldn't stop them. and then that chocolate wafer just had to like cram the lemon wafers down my throat deeper. So I was innocently accosted by chocolate and lemon wafers.
And then the donut hole finished it up, didn't it, NeSe?
I don't know, man. Lemon and chocolate, that seems like a bizarre combination.
Lemon.
That seems premeditated. It's not innocent.
Not innocent, Polly said.
In its creation was premeditated.
There's nothing innocent about that.
Are you innocent?
Well, that's just
Have you ever
validating
had
my
innocent
stupidity.
toast?
Innocent on toast.
Innocent toast, yeah. Or the cereal, Innocent Toast Crunch.
I burn innocence. No.
Well, if you ever feel really guilty, just have a bowl of Innocent Toast Crunch.
Oh, and by the way, that song that I played is called "Return to Innocence"
From
from Enigma. Great song.
See, there must be some way we can redeem that.
Hey, we should play End of the Innocence at the end of the show by Don Henley.
I reckon innocence is reclaimable. I reckon you can reclaim it.
Oh, wait, no, that's Bruce Hornsby, isn't it? Yeah, it's Bruce Hornsby. Or is it Don Henley? Who knows?
Henley.
Innocent mistake.
Well, before I jumped on too, I went to Siri and asked.
Is there a connection between honesty and innocence? Because when you said mistake, I heard automatically honest mistake.
Yeah, I would say there is.
An honest
An
mistake.
honest mistake. Jinx, you owe me a soda.
Does that make it innocent?
I think it does.
What is an honest mistake? Can someone give an example?
Honestly?
I knew I was filling up the cup too much, but for some reason it overflowed. I'm really sorry. It was an honest mistake. Does that fit? An honest mistake just means that you cough.
Honest mistake would be like if you were behind a cash register giving change and you were talking with somebody and you honestly were so routine with where the money goes, you didn't give them back the correct change. That was, and closing the register and locking it up and then realizing, oh crap, I owe you money. That was an honest mistake.
Yeah, to me it kind of seems like an oxymoron. The two together, an honest
How about
mistake.
an innocent mistake?
Kind of the same. I'll tell you a funny mistake. I went to my greengrocer the other day and I asked for a half an ounce of greenery, and they were going to give me a ounce, and I'm sitting there. I said, "That's too much," and they went, "Oh, it is too." I could have took advantage of that innocence right then, but I chose not to.
That would have been an honest mistake.
Yeah, it was on their behalf. They do it all the time, but me as an honest person.
That's why you don't hire stoned people for your dispensaries, people. Just saying. Putting that out there.
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. Yeah, but that's what I said. Lucky I'm honest, because I'll see that and I won't take advantage of that innocence.
Well, you innocently saved that person's job, probably.
So I'm still fixated on this honest mistake. So if you are moving in truth, and in that movement of truth, if a mistake occurs, then I guess it could be. I don't know. It's just not. It's not resonating with me. I know I've heard the term, but I don't recall even like using the term.
What about if you're doing something like a repetitive job, and you go like, we'll say when I make dilly bags, it's a repetitive job, right? It's loop after loop after loop after loop after loop, and sometimes I'll watch and I'll realise I've missed a loop, and it'll make a hole in the bag. So if I finish that bag and I didn't detect that hole, and I go, oh no, I made a mistake there. It's kind of an honest mistake. I didn't intentionally mean to do it, but I realised that
Kinda, like
kinda,
being kinda pregnant.
yeah. Yeah, you got a point there. I don't
Well,
know.
I
I
guess,
was trying to nail down an honest mistake. Can an
so
innocent
if
person please tell us what an honest mistake is?
No,
this is
you
where I could,
pretty good, Luna.
this is where I think I could accept that honest mistake. That if somebody else, unbeknown to you, interferes with your flow of truth, then I guess an honest mistake could occur, especially if it's something that that you're not aware of until after the fact. I'm innocent to knowing what an honest mistake is.
Okay, let me try to put it this way. I would say an honest mistake would be a mistake that was being made in innocence, whereas a mistake of a different nature could have been made within realization, but made anyways, knowing what the ramifications were going to be, because they've made that mistake before.
Or if an honest mistake would be you're making a mistake purposely and knowingly for the benefit of somebody else.
That wouldn't be an honest mistake, in my opinion. That's the difference.
Is an honest mistake when you're actually innocent and you do something and you didn't
An honest
know?
mistake would be that you did something that you didn't expect that was a mistake. You recognize that it's a mistake. You own up to that mistake. It was an honest mistake, and it probably won't happen again. Whereas any other kind of mistake that isn't an honest mistake would be like sort of manipulatively repeated in different ways.
Well, it definitely, on my behalf, was an honest mistake to open up this conundrum of honest mistakes. So forgive me, may I be innocent?
If I was making that dilly bag, and I made that mistake on that dilly bag, and I was not very far from the mistake, and it wouldn't take me much, it would be a matter of my inner, I want it to be right for whoever gets it, but I'm in a rush. I just keep going, and I hide it later, but I sacrifice my excellence.
Yeah, you muffled there.
That's not innocent. I'm guilty. But if I got to the
Guilty.
top and then say, "Oh man, I made that mistake." Okay, well, they make mistakes on purpose in artwork to identify it, also. But anyway, that's getting off. But then it would be more. Just a thought.
Thank you for
So
your
Hey, do you know
thought.
what though? Do you know what else could be an honest mistake? A genetic mutation.
Ollie, yep.
Mother Nature could just be like, "Hey, you know what? It was an honest mistake. The platypus didn't fucking work. The giraffe?
I think it worked
Yeah,
quite
sorry,
fine.
we fucked up on the giraffe. Okay, it was an honest mistake."
It
Yeah.
was a beaver, a muskrat, a wombat, and a duck having an orgy.
Yeah, we made the platypus. Sorry, it's an honest mistake. It lays eggs. Don't worry.
So how about this question then? Is the creator innocent?
No. Oh goodness, no. What you don't know about the creator? Ooh, not innocent at all.
Yeah, well, Creator made all things and kind of knows what's going on. Yeah, Creator.
He's
No.
standing on the failures of other creators.
Well, if it's my creator, then I don't think I can be in a place of saying. I wonder, because I'm a creation,
It
that I
means you can
have
only be in a place of innocence. You're right.
what? Who would be in the place of innocence?
You, as the creation from the creator, there's only one place you could possibly exist, and that's in innocence.
But I was trying to say that is creator innocent or not is the question, right?
Right.
So for me, I go, gee, I don't think I can make that call because I'm the creation. So then you brought it further and said, you're an innocent. I think that's what happened.
Well, it was an honest mistake making the presumption of the innocence of the creator.
I'm just getting to know the creator. I never assumed he was innocent.
I didn't assume he was guilty either.
He just like someone I bumped into at the pub.
I
Pretty
figured,
much. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
because in our story, the mother asked the father to create this place because she needed a hand. So who's really, there's no one to blame. They're not innocent or guilty. Just is. That's a tricky one. But it doesn't apply to us.
Is right in the middle of innocent and guilty.
Is, yeah.
A 2-letter word.
It is. Neutral, yeah. Not negative, not positive. That's what I was looking for in the beginning of the conversation between innocence and guilty. There's a neutral party there. That's it. That's is. It just is.
Yeah.
We say that to our kids. Why do I have to do that, Mum? Because you just do. It's just the way it is. You just got to do it because it is. Why do I have to wash up? Just because you do.
Yeah, because it doesn't do itself.
Yeah, that is is.
Here we are, thinking we're so smart
difficulty.
discussing these words, and we got to a 2-letter word and we're stumped.
Hey, these shows are
in
going to get
between
simpler and
ignorant-
simpler. Join us next week when the show is What is?
Is not, is two, is three.
Yeah, save it for the show.
But yeah, trying to find, Luna, you nailed me on that one. What is between innocence and guilty?
Yeah,
Or,
there's
innocent. He's innocent, because that would be I don't think innocence. I think innocence would be in between innocent and guilty.
Oh,
well,
you missed the start where I said that innocence was a measure of ignorance and not guilt.
hey, like I said earlier, I'm just getting my second brain out to deal with this.
And I'm trying to find my abacus so I can try to get to the end of this.
Okay, so there's the silence. This time it's not silence of truth, it's silence of WTF.
It's an innocent silence.
An innocent silence. Forgive me, I am innocent. I did not know till I walked in there and it all blew up. All right. Wow, what an interesting discussion we've had.
It really is.
All right. So I suppose we'll round up a little bit because we're getting into precarious places now and we need to move on to other words to help us understand about innocence. This is where the weaving starts. One word weaves into another so you can understand the word, which, it can get very difficult. The English language, I'm still reckon we need someone who speaks different languages so they can help us define the English language better. Because innocence in another language may define it way better than what we're trying to find in English.
True.
Yeah, and you know what? I think shows like this, Luna, innocently suggest ideas for other shows.
Good. So whoever does the other show, let me know so I can watch it and get a deeper understanding of knowledge without losing my innocence. No, you're right there, Polly.
Well, I mean, for instance, we could have a whole other show just on guilt.
Well, we probably will. We've run into guilt before, I think. Some of them words go hand in hand, positive and negatives. And we've talked about that much, I'll kind of forget what we have talked about. But guilt, yeah, that's a good one. It's a bit of a negative word, but I'm sure we probably do need to talk about it because I see guilt as an item of clothing and it is given to you to wear. And one day you realise you're wearing too much clothes and now it's something you cannot bear.
Yeah, I'll save what I have to say about that for that show.
All right, well, I'll make it official. Next week is what is guilt? This is the first time we've had the word a week before. We're doing well.
I know. Paula, you should come around more often.
Tune in next week for what is guilt. All right, well, back to innocence. Because I was innocent before I realised I was guilty.
Guilty as charged.
Round table number 13 is what is guilt? Whoa, how appropriate. Especially with Halloween coming and everything. All right, so let's round this. Yeah, let's round this up, hey, shall we? So we talked about knowledge covering our innocence. We realised that more knowledge you have can change where you stand as an innocent. I realise there's more to innocence than meets the eye, and that's a whole nother level, and it holds hands with other words, which we're going to look at next week. So, all right, let's round it off. Everyone have a go. We'll start with Jules. If you want to summarise your experience of this evening's innocence.
Well, I was innocent when I got here and through the conversation and how it unfolded. I still feel innocent in the sense that this is just a fantastic topic and I don't know where to begin to describe what I have learned. So thank you for having me on your show, Luna.
Thank you, as always. It wouldn't be the same without you. So, Maliah, you free to round up?
Maybe. Maybe just to say that cry is the innocent, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, get a good one in, baby. Get a good one. Oh, that's funny.
And thank you, Maliah, and thank you, little bub, for your definition on innocence from the mouth.
He was just telling us how guilty we all were.
Okay, NeSe and Polly, you can take it away. Wow, I just want to go, wow.
That was an innocent laugh. I'll just say thanks for having me, and I love these roundtables. I'm gonna keep trying to come back as much as I can.
Oh, and I appreciate that because, like, same as I said to Jules, it's not the same when without you. Yeah, we've got to have
I
someone
mean,
to
you
fix.
guys just make me think about words in a different way, and like at least two different perspectives on the one word innocence that I never considered happened with this roundtable conversation. So give me a lot to think about for the next couple of days, and I'll definitely come to the roundtable in the corner seat for guilt for sure.
You're the corner seat, remember? You're have a vital position there, Polly.
Well, I got to make sure everything's round.
Round here, we
Exactly.
always stand up straight. Innocence. I think, feel, believe that attempting to return to innocence from my observation and perspective is looking at life through child's eyes in its vast wonders and amazement, and attempting not to be guilty of ignorance and most of all stupidity. So thank you all for letting me be part of it. Miigwech.
Thank you, NeSe. Thank you, everyone, for listening out there. Thank you, everyone here. Love yous. Like I said, this was a joint effort, and without all you fellas participating, it wouldn't happen. And until next week, I want to thank the Creator and love to you on this day. And I hope you haven't lost your innocence after listening to this. Haha. And yeah, that's it. Yalu, see you next week and have a good week.
Hello.